Sup. Welcome back to Spicy Boy Thursday. This is going to be some good, solid, unadulterated content. No boys in the back. As you can see, I'm chilling on my beanbag at the parents' house. Nothing crazy this Spicy Boy Thursday because Thanksgiving's tomorrow. We got to get our eat on. Kick up the legs, chilling on the couch, watching some football. I mean, it was going to be good football, but the Pittsburgh Ravens game has been moved, so now all we have is like the Texans game and the Lions. So I mean, it's gonna be garbage football, but it's football nonetheless. All right. We're glad you're here, letting us penetrate your ear holes on this fine Thursday, this Thanksgiving Thursday. Uh, Hopefully, the Lord's blessing you with some health and some family this holiday. Um, Thank you for listening in. We appreciate it. So yeah, I'm giving you this update to begin with. We got a lot of great content ahead of you. Matchup of the week, Swines versus Frogs. We got those two owners coming in after this segment. They're going to be answering every question I throw at them. These guys are awesome. They're going to be going to town on this matchup, on the playoffs, on the offseason, on the rest of the league. They're going to be going to town. This is going to be a great week to see if the Frogs can make it into the playoffs. Must win for them. This is going to be crazy. All right. Anyways, we'll get into all of that later. The best rivalry in sports, some say. We'll get into that later. We'll talk to them. In the meantime, I'm here to update you on the spread. There's the spreads. There's been a lot of movers and shakers this week, a lot of injuries, COVID, moved games. We're going to look at all that, and we'll let you know what the new updated stats are so you can get in and make your picks on Thanksgiving or before Thanksgiving if you got a busy day on the road possible. Appreciate you. Here we go. First update is the Mafiosos favorite has gone down from 41.5. The spread is now 35.5, 6 points lower. It's going to be easier for them to cover because I think they're looking at Thielen's COVID situation, Terry McLaurin's short week. A lot of these guys on his team, he might have to start Darnell Mooney again. Maybe even Gabe Davis. We'll see. We'll look at that lineup. See if I don't think these spreads will change because I don't think the lines makers are going to be working tomorrow. So I think these spreads are set in stone. So look for a 35.5 spread, and the over under line is now raised up 10 points. So I think the lines makers have it at 210 now. I think the lines. Um, those in the booth are thinking that the mafiosos might underperform and the pillas might overperform this week. So just keep in mind that it might be easy cover for the pillas this week. However, dirty slam, we take no breaks here. We go for the craziest picks. Slam of the week still. Mafiosos covering 35.5 will be easy for them. No Thielen, no McLaurin. Take them all out, put in whoever. Mafiosos will cover, the Pillows will not. All right. Next update is the Turtles. Their spread is dropping tremendously. It is dropping 12 points from 34.5 to 22.5. Um, be prepared for this to be a matchup because the Duckies need to get in. We talked to Jack just 2 days ago. He thinks this will be the easiest match of the season, but we here at the Dirty Slam think he's a fool. I think this is going to be a slugfest. I think the Duckies come out swinging, but at the end of the day, the Turtles are the Turtles. They cover. That's what we're saying here on the Dirty Slam. We're not slamming that. We think the Turtles will cover. Keep that in your mind. Put that in your pocket. Take out your pocketbook and pay up on that one. Turtles win. Next one is going to be the Swines increasing their spread. It's going up 3 points from 18.5 to 21.5. This is the matchup of the week. We'll talk about that later. So I'll just briefly say that. We'll talk about that later. Cheese boards are going down 7 points in their spread. It's going from 15.5 to 8.5. The line is lowered 30 points from 200 down to 170. So this matchup is going to be very low scoring. Cheese boards, all they have to do is basically win at this point. The line or the spread is so low. All they have to do is win. The weenies have been very consistent lately after getting Tom Brady. We could see an easy cover from the weenies, even though it's honestly this matchup is just whoever wins outright. I don't think it'll be within 8.5 points. I think the lines makers are baiting this and just basically saying, who do you think will win? It'll be low scoring. Who's coming out of this? Cheese boards need to win to make the playoffs. The Weenie Wolves honestly don't even care for the rest of the season. They're just trying to win at this point to prove that Gaskin trade was worth it. Anyways, um, Peacocks versus the Bears. That line's been lowered 30 points. Lines makers think the Peacocks will underperform. Bears are going to perform the same as they always do. Low double digits. They're not breaking 100 anytime soon. It's 180 now. So it's still 30.5 spread. So honestly, that's like assuming the Peacocks score like 110 points max. That'll be a tough one to look at. Just keeping you updated. The new spreads and lines 35.5 on a 210 for the Mafiosos. Screaming Turtles have a 22.5 favorites on 230 over under. Peacocks are 30.5 on 180. Swines 21.5 now on 220. Rod's Bods 25.5 on 240. Chester's Cheeseboards 8.5 on 170. I know that's a lot of information. It's all in the spreadsheet. Go put in your picks, raise up those points, try and earn that spot at the top of the list. The Pillows are up there right now holding down the fort. Go catch them. All right, matchup of the week, Swines versus the Frogs. We're bringing them in later. We'll get them going, get them riled up. We'll talk to them in a minute. Possible upset of the week, Jollers over the Bods. We talked to Josh Roddy earlier. He thinks the Jollers are going to perform well and they're going to perform crazy. So look out for that one as a possible upset when you're putting in your slam of the week. The Dirty Slam, as I said, the Mafiosos, easy done it. I mean, it's just cakewalk at this point for them. They're in the playoffs. They're probably gonna have to face the Swines first round. We'll see. The reigning champ Swines. That'll be a tough matchup, but Mafiosos aren't looking too far ahead, honestly, because it's a bye week right now. Is what I've been hearing. Boys in the back aren't giving me the news, but I can sense that they're at their house right now, sending me brainwaves that the Mafiosos feel that way. You got me. Obviously, I'm not the owner of the Mafiosos. People been saying that. I have pictures of me and him in the same room to prove that we're different people. Just slander of my integrity at this point that people think that I am the owner of the Mafiosos. That guy's an idiot. Started Darnell Mooney. I could never, because I'm always right on the Dirty Slam. Whoever says I'm not right, ignorant. I don't know what they're talking about. 0-4. Don't worry about it. We'll come back. We'll be 1-4 after this week. Easy. Hit the Mafiosos. 30 sneak. Bod's not covering, obviously, because of the upset of the week. All right. That's all I have. I'm stoked to talk to Peyton and Reed next. Best rivalry in sports. The Frogs and the Swines. We're coming into it. I'll see you after the break. What's up? We're back in segment 2. We're bringing in the benevolent, my bad, guys, benevolent leader of the Swines Kingdom, Peyton Sowell, reigning champs, obviously staged in the background. You can see the trophy. He's coming off a hot season last year, rolling into the playoffs this year. We're going to be interested talking to him. We also got Reed Mayers, owner of the Ferocious Frogs, owner of Felipe, father of Felipe, team on the brink of the playoffs, must win matchup this week. The best rivalry in sports, as I was saying earlier. Super interested to hear from him. Super interested to hear from Peyton Sowell. We're going to jump right into this. I'd like to start off by asking how each of you feel about the rivalry thus far, and how the rumors of a potential league restructuring make you feel.
I'll start with this one. The rumors scare me. I do enjoy what me and Reed have going here. It's what what feels like a 50-year rivalry has really just been 3 games so far. So it's crazy the history that we built, but whatever the league decides to do, I'll back it. Probably after some arguments, I'll definitely argue, but I'll end up backing it, and I'm just happy to have had the 4 games we played.
Mm.
If the league decides that ending Frogs versus Swines is what the future needs, that's something that I will never support. So I think Frogs versus Swines should be something that stays no matter how the league restructures. That's just my opinion. And as far as the rivalry this far, the Frogs kind of let the Swines feel their way into it the first year. He took a couple losses just to make him build up his confidence a little bit. But obviously, we've all seen the picture. Miracle in Frogs land. We've all seen it. That was obviously earlier this year. Best moment in Frogs history, and we're excited to recreate that this weekend.
It is. Always love seeing that on social media.
Mm.
Frogs branding is great. Swines branding is great. We love to see it on social media. Obviously, me being unbiased outside of the league, no stake in the matter. I'm sad if these tyrants of commissioners decide to make the trade or make the change towards no Swines Frogs at the end in beginning of the year. I'm sad
Hey,
because
well, surely you have a lot of pull up there in your podcast tower. You probably know a commissioner or two that could get something done.
you'd really think, but we talked to Jack earlier in the week. Jack is telling me that this commissioner is an absolute maniac. I I don't know what to do at this point. I feel like I get pulled, but I don't. You guys are the pinnacle of the league. I feel like 2 out of the 3 of the big 3. You guys are at the top. I feel like it's a necessary thing to have you guys. Anyways, moving into the next question I have, like I was saying, 2 of the 3 member of the big 3. Obviously, you listened earlier to the podcast where we had Jack on. He said some pretty crazy stuff about the Frogs, Reed, how he was per se, quote, disappointed in how they performed. I just want to get your take on that. What would you have to say to Jack in this area,
I think, as we all do, I think I really just take Jack's opinion with a grain of salt. He just kind of throws some words out there and forms some sentences, and they don't really mean much to me. I'm not sure they mean much to anyone. I think the Frogs' performance this year is pretty exceptional, considering what we've been through as an organization. Christian McCaffrey, Travis Kelce, Adam Thielen, they're gone, and look at us. The Frogs aren't 1-9. The Frogs are 2-8. The Frogs are 6-5, and we're fighting for a playoff spot. I think that's impressive, and if Jack can't see that, he needs to expand his mind a little bit.
Some would say, I don't have the boys in the back. I was talking about that earlier in the segment. They're all fun Thanksgiving. You got to give everybody a break. Boys in the back, I heard him chattering that Jack Mitchell, Jerry Jones, as he likes to call himself, as I introduced him as, he's just off his rocker at this point. He's scared that he'll lose this week and not get that first round playoff bye, because we know what happens when he makes the playoff. But after all, anyways, Peyton, what would you have to say about Jack saying Reed is the weak link, a disappointment to the big 3?
Well, listen, within the big 3, we're gonna have the banter. All right, we're gonna have the back and forth. So you expect it, but I would have to say, I was thinking about this the other day. The big 3 is, I would say it's 3 to the first power, and me and Jack are 1.5, and he's the other 1.5, and then Reed is the little one up top.
Oh,
And obviously that's going to change around, but at this moment he's the little one. He's the third to the first power, if my math serves me correct, which it honestly might not.
that's tough to hear. That's really tough to hear. Well, I mean, in terms of how the series has gone so far, it's 2-1 out of the 3 games y'all have played so far. Swines have 2 victories over the Frogs that have won. So it's not like you're winning outright by any stretch of the imagination against the Frogs. He's putting up fight. And in this matchup, focusing on this matchup in particular, it's a must-win for the Frogs to make it to the playoffs. I mean, unless everybody who else, like the Duckies and the Jawlers and the Cheese Boards, all those middle of the road teams, unless like all of them win and Reed loses. Like it's basically in Reed's court, the Frogs' court. Felipe bringing him in, they got to win. Are you scared, Peyton, that he's going to even up this matchup and make it 2-2 in the series because he's just got everything to go for here, nothing to lose at this point?
I prefer to look at things like a storybook. Okay.
Oh, okay.
The story Reed's writing carries a lot more weight than the story I'm writing of the Super Bowl, post Super Bowl slump coming, trying to make the playoffs. I don't feel like the ending to that ends with me winning this game. Reed, underdog, trades all his players, somehow is still good, winning games. I feel like the story is being written in favor of him, but my job is to change that. So come Thursday, my lineup's going to be set to make his story a bad one.
What would you say to that, Reed?
I mean, I would just say, obviously last year we had our guys and they just couldn't beat the Swines. So what we decided to do and what I've revolved my season around is what guys are the right guys to beat the Swines. And you look at Kyler Murray, you look at DK Metcalf, you look a little deeper. You look at Frank Gore, you look at JD McKissick. These guys they're ready to go. They're fired up. Locker room's bumping every day at practice. They're ready to go. All they think about is the Swines. They can't stop. They're just Swines addicts. They're ready to roll. I think it's going to be a blowout, honestly. I don't think the Swines stand a chance. I don't know if you've seen, they've got no tight end playing this week. So I think that might be a little bit of a
tight end pending, okay?
And then to go along with that, I know Lazard came back last week. He had a little bit of a slow start. He's going to turn it up a little bit. And then there's been some rumblings on the Chargers about bringing Eckler back this week.
What's that going to do? Are you going to take out Frank Gore and JD McKissick, cornerstone players? Sorry, did I lag out there?
I can't. You repeat
that lag.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. Does that mean Austin Eckler coming back? Are you taking out cornerstone players like JD McKissick and Frank Gore out of your lineup? I just couldn't imagine that happening.
I mean, we're gonna have a lot of decisions to make. As it is with any good team, when you've got an overflow of talent like the Frogs do, especially at the running back position, you got to make the tough calls. So if we think Eckler's going to come in and be the guy he's been in the past, we might have to say, look, Frank, you're 46 years old. It might be time to ride the bench a little bit. But if that's not the case, Frank is ready to go. We just lost our boy Rex Burkhead as well. So thoughts and prayers to Rex Burkhead. But,
T's and P's.
Yeah, we've got guys. We've got guys ready to go. They're lining up, ready to play. So Frogs are ready still.
Awesome. Always like to hear comeback story. The Frogs are writing that story. Austin Eckler's writing that story. In the first segment, I was updating. I was talking about the lines that have been updated. The lines makers have changed a lot of things around, and the line is now 21.5 points in favor of the Swines. It's gone up since the change in injuries and matchups. Reed, you already said it was going to be a blowout in favor of the Frogs. Care to elaborate on why you think that's going to happen?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward to me. You look at some of the Frogs' recent spreads that they've had. I think we were 40-point dogs against the Turtles, and the Turtles just squeaked out with a win. They got, extremely fortunate. I think we were in the 20-point underdogs against the Rubber Duckies a few weeks back, and we beat them outright. So, it's a history of bad line making, and the Frogs continue to prove it wrong.
You feel like the Frogs just constantly been underdogs beaten down by the guys in charge of the lines?
The Frogs are essentially the equivalent to maybe a BYU or Cincinnati, maybe even a Coastal Carolina type story where we've just been continually doubted. I've listened to the podcast. I've heard the guests say, we don't like the Frogs this week. We don't like the Frogs this week. Nobody likes the Frogs this week. And the Frogs, they like the Frogs this week. I'm expecting big things.
The Swines don't like the Frogs this week.
That's interesting.
That's it.
How did the Swines like the Frogs in week 1?
Swines have forgotten week 1. All right, we're on to Frogs week 13 / week 12. Could be either one.
So, what do you think? How do you think this matchup's going to go for you, Peyton? You think it's going to be a close one, or are you on the totally opposite side of the coin here and think it's a blowout in your
Take a
favor.
look at when my key players are playing. So I got Aaron Rodgers playing late Sunday, which typically is a big chunk of my points. So it could be hairy up through these early games into the 4 o'clock games. But I think once I get Rodgers going and let's see, I got no one on Monday. I think it'll be done by the 4 o'clock games, and then Rodgers will sweep in with the cherry on top.
Done by the 4 o'clock games. That means you're going to be winning. Rodgers with the cherry on top. That means he's probably going to put up 20 points. That means he'll cover 21.5. You heard it here first. Swines think they'll cover. Frogs think they'll cover. Who would have known? Okay. I meant to put this in there. Frogs have covered 75% of their games. You already said that, Reed. Good statistics from you, bringing out past matchups. We love to see that on the Dirty Slam because we're trying to take all the money from the lines makers. Those guys are ignoramuses. I don't know who they are setting the lines each week. Dunderheads. Anyways, we're taking their money. Let me hear each of your key performers in this matchup. Who should the fans keep their eyes on? Who's putting up the most points? Because obviously we have people out there trying to set daily fantasy, trying to earn some money from other sports book places. We want to know who the best players are. Who do you think are the MVPs in this matchup? Swines, go ahead.
So obviously I've already touched on it. Aaron Rodgers is going to be a key player.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't continue without saying Derrick Henry and Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas kind of caught his rhythm last week. We're hoping that keeps going. And then finally, whoever plays tight end for the Swines will be a key player in this.
Don't even have anybody.
I can't tell you who's going to play tight end for the Swines, but whoever he is going to play well.
All right, wait. I'm getting something. The boys in the back aren't here, but I feel like they're sending me something telepathically. Did you pick up somebody earlier that may or may not be the tight end for the Arizona Cardinals? Am I lagging?
Did I? No.
You did. I'm looking at your team. You did.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did that.
You think he's going to make the start over Tyler Eifert?
I'm going to have to evaluate and get back to you on that one. I forgot I added him, so.
Okay.
Yep.
Sweet. All right, Frog. Let's hear your key performance from this matchup.
Yeah. So for the Frogs, it all starts at the top. You got Kyler Murray, you got DK Metcalf. If either of them go under 20 points, it's always a tough draw for the Frogs to win. But I like both their matchups this week. DK's got the Eagles and Kyler's got the Patriots, which even with a little bit of an injury on Kyler, I think they'll be good to go. I think they'll be good for their 20-plus this week. I think the key matchups for the Frogs as you get kind of later into the matchup, you got to look at people like J.D. McKissick, people like maybe Denzel Mims or maybe KJ Hamler, depending on who I go with there. But for the Frogs to really pull off the upset this week, we got to have more than just our two-man rotation. We got to get 10 from J.D. McKissick, who I really like this week against the Cowboys. I think that might be a good matchup for the Frogs. Yeah. And then one of those secondary receivers, got to have it 9 or 10 range.
Now, Drew Lock, he, I believe, is the starting quarterback of the Denver Broncos. How would that be putting in KJ Hamler in this matchup just to kind of show that, like, the Swines have Drew Lock, but we have a guy who's going to be scoring the points from it? You know, how would that go? You feel like you would be almost flexing on the Swines by saying KJ Hamler, or is that more of like, hey, we're giving you guys a nod over there in Swinesville? We're like, good on Drew Lock. He's looking good.
Yes, I agree with that one. That option, or you choose that one.
I think it's all a mind game, really. For me, if I put KJ Hamler in the game, what does Peyton feel when Drew Lock does a touchdown to KJ Hamler? I'm playing with his emotions at that point. Where
it's excitement.
You're excited? How about this scenario?
Coming from Drew Lock resonates throughout my team more than the however many points that KJ Hamler scores. The moxie. It's all about the moxie.
Let me paint a scenario for you, Peyton. Now
You're
up by 5. For some reason, the Broncos game gets moved to Tuesday night.
Oh boy! Now I'm sweating.
Drew Lock's balling. He's balling. But then Jerry Jeudy gets hurt. KJ Hamler's the first receiver. Touchdown. last minute of the game, how are you feeling? Drew Lock won the game for the Broncos.
Because that's my future MVP. Losing me a game that for me doesn't really matter. So
it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm just playing this game just to ruin your day. So if you squeak by, then hey, congratulations, we got the big three representing 3 spots in the playoffs. It's like when the SEC makes, gets 3 people in there. It's big. You love to see it, but I'm gonna
maybe Texas A&M. Shout out Texas A&M.
We will not be shouting out Texas A&M here. We are not a college.
Cut that one out.
Shout out.
Nope.
I'm blurring that. Actually, I'm kidding. There's going to be no editing on this video. Thanksgiving is tomorrow. We're putting this one out early. Anyways, quick question. Speaking of Thanksgiving, what's your favorite side item? You can't tell me like a meat or anything. That's cheating. What's your favorite side item?
I love deviled eggs. I'm a big deviled eggs guy.
That's so disgusting.
What? Deviled eggs?
Eat that for breakfast. We're talking about Thanksgiving dinner.
I'll send a picture of deviled eggs into the group chat tomorrow. They look really good.
Man, okay. Everybody I've had on there talking about this league group chat. Obviously, outside source here.
Yeah, you would know.
I wouldn't know. I need to get in this group chat. It feels like it's a necessary anything. Anyway, Reed, go ahead. What's your favorite side item?
Well, for me, I'm typically a big stuffing guy. This Thanksgiving, I don't have a lot to look forward to as I cannot taste or smell.
Oh no! Do you have the old SARS?
Yep, I did. I'm on the recovery trail.
Oh, tough. T's and P's on the recovery. T's and P's. Hopefully, Felipe's quarantining away from you.
I definitely held Felipe multiple times.
They have a little frog mask.
This is sad.
Does Felipe have a frog-sized mask? I would hope so. Or else
he doesn't.
Animal Center.
His name is. Let's start with his name. His name is Fernando. But
no, that's not what everybody's been telling me.
A couple Felipes here and there.
My boys in the back, they're not here, but they were telling me earlier Felipe's his name. Anyways,
Felipe, if people drop a Felipe here or there, I could get over it.
That's good. That's the Frogs motto, always looking ahead, always keeping their chin up, pushing forward. All right. We got next main segment. We're switching away from the matchup. We're looking at the future of the Frogs and the Swines rivalry. This is just a quick 2-prong question. I'll start with the first prong. Who are your favorite young guys on your team that you're hoping are going to develop into key players for the future of this rivalry? Who do you think is going to stem up and be the next face of your team against your opposition?
I'll go first since I've got just such a wealth of young talent on my team. It's so hard to pick maybe one or two, but I'm going to have to go with Denzel Mims and KJ Hamler. For me, they were kind of bench guys this year, kind of like, hey, I'm going to have these guys. They'll be good in the future, but they both made an impact. I think I've had one of them at least in my lineup for the past 5 or 6 weeks. So I'm very excited about them. And then obviously, we can't forget about Jay Sternberger, who's the absolute future of the tight end position. So he's going to revolutionize the game at some point. We're just waiting on it. I think he had 3 catches for 13 yards last week. So that was something special.
Oddly enough, I pride myself on knowing a lot of underrated and not sought after players, very quiet players. I've never heard of Jay Sternberger.
If you wanted to do your research, you would look at I think what was our freshman year of college, 2018.
Honestly, I don't know what that. Obviously, I'm super old, so
look at the 2018 college football tight end receiving yards. You won't have to look further than number 1 to find Jay Sternberger.
He was at Texas A&M.
Texas A&M. Shout out Texas A&M.
It's good to know. No reason. I guess that explains why he's kind of some duty.
That's all right.
Just kidding. Anyway, Peyton, who are your guys?
I feel like a lot of people would expect me to put T. Higgins first, but I really like Zach Moss, and I see him in the future being a really solid back for when Derrick Henry's time comes. Sadly, I don't want to think about that.
Next year, when Derrick Henry's time comes for Darrington to replace him.
5, 6 more rings. Next, I'll have T. Higgins. Love that guy. Joey Burrow down. T's and P's as our podcast narrator, moderator says.
T's and P's.
And then, of course, Alexander Madison is just cooking in a crock pot, just waiting for the moment.
He's never cooked in his life.
Well, he's behind a cook, so I hope. But yeah, he's in the crock pot. He'll be playing soon. I believe it. I believe it in my loins. And then last person is Cole Kmet. I like Cole Kmet. And I think he's going to be a great tight end when he starts getting some looks.
Tight end. He's on the Bears, right?
Yes.
It's gonna be tough because they got no quarterback.
Not this week.
Yeah, it might be Mitch Trubisky. I don't know. We'll see what's going on with his shoulder. Nobody's starting him, so that affects no bets for this week. Awesome. Good hearing about all the young talent, young up and comers in the best rivalry in sports. Obviously, it's one night and a few hours before the trade deadline ends. No need to give any organizational secrets away. No need to let me dive in there if you don't want to. Just wondering if the Swines and the Frogs are targeting anybody in any trade talks, might make a big push in the playoffs, or are you just chilling with your guys and you're good with the locker room right now?
I'll let you headline this, right? I'll tell you this exclusive.
Okay.
The Swines will be making a play for a tight end. I got several people in the back pocket right now I'm talking to.
He's going for Hunter Henry.
Could fall through, but I'm feeling like the tight end is going to make the difference this year. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how it plays out.
All right, you heard it here first. Adam Schefter of the DGFL. I know you somehow get your hands on these tapes before everyone else. Am I lagging? Hello?
A little bit.
Yeah, I was lagging.
It wasn't,
sorry.
It wasn't
Anyways,
worst,
Schefter's getting the tapes before everybody else, so he's probably gonna headline that sooner or later. Swine's making a move, possibly for Hunter Henry, is what the Frogs are saying. You going after anybody?
Swine's battery is getting dangerously low.
Okay.
Swine should find a charger.
Swines are going to find a charger. All right. We'll be. In the meantime, we're talking to the Frogs, seeing if they're making any moves.
Yeah, I played around with a couple moves. I think the biggest thing that I would be looking to add is kind of some younger wide receiver talent. There's not a lot in the running back pool that I feel like would add to my team right now. But I looked into a couple of receivers. I'm not super set on making any moves because I don't want to make any rash decisions with my draft capital, as I've done in the past for players, including but not limited to Melvin Gordon and Wayne Gallman. So I'm going to value my draft capital a little bit, but if the right move presents itself, the Frogs would be willing to trade some.
Now, you do have how many first rounders in this upcoming draft?
So, not to flex, but I'm going to have 4 this year, followed by 3 the next year.
That is a lot. Are any of those of teams that are going to be in this lottery for the first overall?
Unfortunately, no. Considering there's a 100% chance I make the playoffs, meaning that I will have picks 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Oh, you're going to own the back half of the draft.
Yeah. So,
you being 12.
I figure I'll probably trade up with at least 2 or 3 of those picks to get Kellen Mond early in the first round. But other than that, it's wide open. So
now, me being an exclusive NFL fantasy bets expert, I have no knowledge of Kellen Mond. Could you please regale me on the man?
Yeah, Kellen Mond is probably the best quarterback to grace college football since maybe the 1920s. He wears shoulder pads that go up to about here, and he carries the ball around here. So he looks really comfortable in the pocket. He has 16 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, and he hasn't been sacked since week 1. Shout out offensive line, but
it's pretty solid.
A little bit of Kellen Mond statistics for you. Really good at running the option. That's my favorite Kellen Mond play.
Okay, so he's a mobile guy. That's good to hear. I mean, you were saying you have a wealth of picks. No running backs really to go after. I mean, you got arguably the top one or two best dynasty wide receiver asset in DK Metcalf. Going after young wide receivers. I mean, you're in an all right position. You know where your team's at. So we'll be looking out. Adam Schefter will be breaking news if any of those trades go through. We'll be looking at that Twitter. We'll be looking at your Twitter.
Yeah.
And so we're going to transition into the final main segment where we're just going to be talking about the league, cutting up, you know.
Right.
We'll start with you, Frogs. Let me into your organization. Walk me through how you go about branding and marketing. Because the Frogs and the Swines, I want to get both of y'all's takes on this. You guys have wonderful marketing managers, wonderful branding. The Frogs got a mascot. The Swines mascot may be incoming soon. We'll see how that goes. Frogs, just walk me through how you do branding and marketing.
Yeah. So I think since the start, the goal in the Frogs organization has always been stay a step ahead of the next guy. So I think you can see that with starting with our name, the Ferocious Frogs. We kind of started a trend, I guess. When something works, people just have to take it from you. But we kind of did that, and then kind of moving along from there, it was like, what's going to make our fans the happiest? And we want to have the best PR, the best merch, the best Twitter, all those things. So we strive really hard to make our fans happy. And then obviously moving on to Fernando, our most recent addition to the Frogs brand. We just wanted to give the locker room an extra boost, reward the guys for the hard work they've been putting in. And I think Fernando's doing that, and he's a little bit of a sideline coach himself, but we love him. So
yeah, it's good to see Fernando, Felipe, whatever everybody wants to call him. It's good to see him in the locker room. Although some have been saying that he's been an external presence that's not been great. What would you say to those guys?
Yeah, I would say that Fernando is the farthest thing from an external presence. Kyler and DK, they made him at home on day one. They added him to the team group chat. He's all over the locker room. Guys love him. Could not be boosting morale anymore. So to the person who said that, I don't know who it might be. I'm just going to have to say I would take their opinion very lightly. I would not put too much weight on that. Pretty similar to some other person that I might have mentioned earlier.
All right, Swines, walk us through how you do. Did you hear my question initially about?
Vaguely, the marketing and my mascot. As far as marketing goes, there's definitely we're in phase one of Swines. Believe it or not, it's probably really impressive that this is only phase one. Wow, what's to come in phase two? So phase one is pretty small. We're just building up our logo. We're building up our brand. We'll next year, when the Swines generate a little bit more capital, we'll have some more merch. Maybe some team polos that are all extra small. We need those. Those are coming. But as far as getting an actual live mascot, I wouldn't say it's out of the picture, but that's gonna be something that's like phase 3, maybe.
That's a big step.
It's a big step. I would love a little teacup pig, just a little guy. He could be smaller than like a Chihuahua. That'd be really nice. My family used to actually own a potbelly pig. So I mean, the swine, it's in the blood. You can say that I just adopted the Swine's name off of a very popular NBA 2K basketball team, but no, the Swines have been in the sour blood for quite some time now, and I'm finally actualizing said heritage into my fantasy football team. So shout out Swines, NBA 2K, shout out Swines, DGFL. Gotta remember your roots.
You do. Tale as old as time, the Swines and the Sowls. So in that same vein of branding and marketing, I gotta hear it. Who do you think has the worst branded team, the worst marketing in the league?
I won't shy away from saying it's Chris, man. It's like, come on, man. You got to separate your personal team from, your professional fantasy football team. So, get the Bears out of here. Get the hell out of here, Bears. Excuse my profanity. Had to say it. Get out of here.
It's all right. We welcome overreactions. We welcome spicy takes. This is Spicy Boy Thursday, after all, Thanksgiving edition. What say you, Reed? Who's lackluster?
I would have to agree with the Bears. But just for the sake of this podcast, I'm going to give a separate take, even though I fully believe the Bears is the worst name in the league and the worst branding. I'm not a big fan of the red and blue on the bear face. I don't think it looks very Bears-like.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to go with the Screaming Turtles. I think that rumor has it that their team name is based off of a move at the Whitewater Center and that it was trademarked and he could be sued for that. Whitewater Center coming in hot.
You remember that? Wow, you just invoked the memory.
Yeah. That's the truth. And he really hopped on the animal bandwagon late. He doesn't have the classic feel of a Swines or a Frogs or even a Peacocks. So it kind of just strikes me every time that, hey, this guy just kind of stole what everybody else did. So
That's true. He did jump on the bandwagon a little late.
Yeah.
Peyton's looking like he's going through some turbulent lag here, so I'll target this question to you again, Reed. In terms of who's in the playoffs, you're trying to make it. You're looking at all the teams that already have made it. Out of all the 6 that are going to make the team, make the playoffs, who do you think has the most overrated team?
That's an interesting question. I think in terms of play, there he goes.
Hopefully we'll get back in here quickly.
I think I would have to go with, based on recent performance, I think I'd have to go with the Peacocks. I think they've been struggling of late. I know they've had some injuries, but haven't we all? I mean, so seeing them kind of go under 100 a couple weeks in a row has kind of opened my eyes a little bit about what the Peacocks might really be.
Yeah, that's true. I talked to obviously we were talking to Jack earlier in the week, and he said that the Duckies don't even deserve to be overrated because they aren't good enough to get in that status. I would disagree because the Duckies are a solid team. They're just getting some injuries. Peyton's loading back in from his iPhone. Am I lagging?
You lagged a little bit, but I see his iPhone.
All right, I lagged a little bit. This is Thanksgiving edition. Obviously, some lag.
Did everyone get kicked out?
No, just you.
Oh, okay. Oof. Glad it's just me.
Thanksgiving edition is pulling out some crazy antics, lag, cutting out. Peyton's back in. So the question was, Peyton, out of all the teams in the playoffs, who do you think is the most overrated team?
Dude, I was telling Jack this yesterday.
Oh, man.
What did Reed say? Did he already? I don't want to know. Because I do believe it's the Screaming Turtles. When I sit back and I think, and again, I love Big 3 for life, man. And I think about potential winners. I just see Jack as the guy who can get so close, man. He can get so close, but he's going to come up short. I don't think he's going to get it. Jack's not making it.
That's tough. You agree?
100% back that. I think my dream life would be for Jack to lose to Hunter this week and then beat Peyton, which would set me up with Jack in the first round. And we all know what happened.
The story is being written there.
The story, right?
Look at that.
The storybook is being written. Now, the Screaming Turtles are technically still a top 2 highest scoring team in the league. I talked to him earlier in the week about Lamar Jackson. I do think Kyler Murray has supplanted him as the quarterback asset to own right now. So it's interesting that you 2 out of the Big 3 have said that your other Big 3 member is overrated. That's good content. We love it here, Spicy Boy Thursday. Anyways, next question. Obviously, we're sitting here with Reed, number 2 in the overall. Reed, separate from his Frogs organization. He's number 2 overall in the betting standings. The question is, will Peyton ever learn how to do the betting?
No.
Nathan, you want to let me in on my computer?
I got you. You're in.
I'll answer that for him, and the answer is no. He will never learn how to do the betting.
We'll wait till he comes back to see what he has to say.
So first off, I'm gonna fully agree with Reed here. Maybe in the off season, I'll take a class and
You don't need a class.
I'll fancy myself a gambler. But right now, the Swines have way too much on their plate to learn what an over is, or perhaps a spread. A spread to me is, on a dinner table. Okay.
Oh, Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Yeah. A spread is
That's
tomorrow
nice.
at about 1 or 2.
Well, maybe
But,
over the off season. Maybe
um,
over the off season, after one of you two have won the championship, maybe Reed can tutor you up on.
I'll do something, Reed.
Huh? What did you just
You
say?
become the teacher for once. I'm tired of schooling you.
Yeah, you're tired of schooling me? I think it's been a pretty long time since you've schooled any frogs.
It has. It's been almost a full season.
Give me a couple days.
Oh yeah,
Mm,
couple days.
wise words from the Swines. Give them a couple of days. Well, I mean that's kind of all I got in terms of questions. You guys got anything you want to say heading into this matchup? Any trash talk? Any trash talk for the league? Anybody you want to call out? Owners, people who've been doubting you, people who've been hating on your backup quarterback, maybe.
Oh man, can I just speak on the Jajalas for a second? The audacity of this man to not trust that Drew Lock in the coming years will turn his wide receiver, Judy, into a beast, okay? It's coming. The moxie is growing. I've used the word moxie a lot, okay?
Mhm.
The Swines love their moxie. I believe moxie is probably the greatest stat to have in a quarterback.
Mm.
Who among other quarterbacks has the most moxie? Eric Brown.
Your
You guys
box.
want to see something? Give me 1 second, please. Look at this moxie of this man. Hang on.
I believe this guy called back.
Hold on.
It turned off. What,
Okay, the live image.
what's supposed to be happening? Oh,
Oh,
that's pretty cool.
Moxie. He's got moxie. So does Drew Lock, and so does Sam Darnold. And all my quarterbacks are going to be great.
I've got a question for you, Peyton. How much battery percentage do you think you waste a day watching your background?
I charged my phone earlier before this podcast, and it's at 50%, so a good amount. But that could also just speak on Apple products.
Oh, hey, we don't want to trust Apple. We're looking for sponsorships here. We've been in talks with Apple, of course, Arby's. Anyways,
All the big names.
we're calling out the Jollers. No respect for Drew Lock. You got anybody, Frogs, that's just been beating you down that you just got to call out and say, look, I'm winning this week. I'm making it to the playoffs. I'm coming for you.
I do. I think we touched on it a little bit, but I want to talk to Jack of the Screaming Turtle today. I'm okay if you question the Frogs' capability to win. We've seen them lose before. Caterpillar Gillis, sad, lost that game. I'm okay if you question the Frogs' position in the Big Three because I don't listen to your opinion anyways. But what crosses the line is when you question my level of tonedness as a person. I took that one personally, and if Jack ever wants to have a toned off with me, that would be just an easy win. So
it's tough. I saw him. I saw what was under his cowboy hat. Did not look nearly as toned as you. I'll say it.
Yeah, I would say that as well. He's a little bit on the thicker side.
Hey, we love a thick man here, though. We're not going at you, Jack. We love a thick man, but you just can't compete in terms of tonedness.
I would concur.
All right. It's been wonderful having the Swines and the Frogs on here. The Frogs and the Swines. Greatest rivalry in sports. The greatest men in the DGFL. Honorable. Always high class. Great rivalry. We'll see. It would just be storybook ending, as Peyton was saying, as Reed was elaborating on. It'll be great to see what happens at the end of the season if the Frogs or the Swines, if both of them could make a run, if they're on opposite sides of the bracket, if they both end up making the playoffs, if they meet in the finals, would that not be the picture perfect ending to this season?
That's a story right there.
That's a story. Well, we appreciate you guys having you guys on here. Always love talking to you.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. You let the boys in the back know. Happy Thanksgiving.
I will.
I appreciate what they do to add quality to this this
They'll
content.
appreciate that. They look up to you both. They'll
No.
appreciate both of your wishing them well. Boys in the back, they're always grinding.
Yeah, I believe it. I've been there, man. I wasn't always the owner of, the most winning football team in the
I would
DGFL.
defend that statement. I don't think you're even close to the most winning.
I think I'm actually second or third. I checked the other day.
Oh,
Good info. So
We'll
you
see.
claim yourself winningest, and then you backtrack.
I was moving and I wasn't stopping it. So most winning owner, me.
I mean, once I think the people who make the lines, once they update that history book, we'll see who truly is the most winningest owner in the DGFL history. Swines are probably up there. Great season last year. Other member Turtles are probably up there. Anyways, we're not talking about that anymore. We're closing out. Appreciate you both. I already said it. Have a great Thanksgiving. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Get your taste buds back. Peace out.
Peace out.